All right. Um, Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Meghan Dobbins. I am a third year here at Bowling Green. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and my presentation is about Brazilian art. So, a little bit of background. I went to Florianopolis, Santa Catarina, Brazil. I went in the spring of 2020. From January till March, I was in person, and then I had to get sent back to the States from mid-March until May and do online work because of COVID. The artwork here comes from Florianopolis, Sao Paulo, and Urupu, Belo Horizonte, Mariana, in the state of Minas Gerais. So this is a picture of the map. I know that not everyone is familiar with Brazil. So the top arrow, the first one, is pointing to Belo Horizonte. That's the capital of the state of Minas Gerais. And that's the first place that I'll be showing you. And then below that, the middle arrow, that's Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is a state. And then I went to the city of Sao Paulo, so Sao Paulo, Sao Paulo. And then the arrow on the bottom is Florianopolis, which is the capital city of Santa Catarina, which was my host city. So first place I'm going to is Minas Gerais, which was in Belo Horizonte. It means general mines. There was a lot of mining that went on within the state. That is what it was known for. The Portuguese settled here in about the mid 1500s. That is when they quote unquote discovered it. And then slavery of the African and the indigenous people soon followed once they realized all of the riches that Brazil brings. The place that I went to where the next couple of art pieces come from is called Inochi. And that is one of the biggest contemporary outdoor art museums within Latin America. It is absolutely beautiful, and I suggest if you ever go to Brazil, you make a trip there and going during our winter season because it's their summer season, and that's when all the flowers and everything are in bloom. It's also a botanical garden, so it's really beautiful, and I've never seen anything like it. So this next artist, her name is Claudia Andujar. She was born in Switzerland and became a naturalized Brazilian citizen in the 1950s. This exhibit first opened in 2015, and she had more than 400 photographs that were taken between nature and the indigenous life within the northern part of the country. The indigenous people in her photographs are the Yanomami people. She spent a lot of time with them studying their cultures and rituals, as well as doing anthropological work like recording language and history. Her work is an amazing representation of the indigenous Brazilians, and she focused on bringing to light how beautiful indigenous people are beyond the lenses of Eurocentric beauty. She establishes a sort of exoticism in her work with a lot of black and white pictures that create a sense of intimacy with her audience, and I think really drags you in. Her pictures show intimate moments between the Yanomami people, and like this one I'm about to show you. This is what's called the sunlight ritual, or what she called the sunlight ritual as sort of a rite of passage for the young people within the tribe. You can see they are piercing sticks, I think, through their mouths. Really just beautiful pieces. I loved her black and white contrasts. I loved how she was able to focus on their faces. And I just think her work is very beautiful. These pictures just show the daily life of the Yanomami people. It kind of shows more of what people might want to see. So like the thatched roofs, the children, how they're dressing, the young people, how they do their hair. So these are just color pictures that I find really interesting. So out of Belo Horizonte, I went to Ouro Preto, which means black gold. This is more of a colonial town, and it's named Ouro Preto because the gold that they find there is black. So they named it, the city of black gold. It's one of the oldest Portuguese style churches. This one right here is now a museum. It's no longer a church, but I think it is very beautiful. Um, and it really shows the Portuguese architecture that was done in colonial times. So I wanted to show this picture as a way to represent how, if you've ever seen Portugal or Spain, how this how these buildings are very similar. They have the red brown tile roofs. They have the box houses really close together. They have the balconies. Um, these kinds of styles are really similar to um, how they were during colonial times. This city is often referred to as a blast in the past. And if you've ever been to Portugal or Spain or seen pictures, you can kind of see how it's pretty familiar um, and very similar. So this church, this is the inside to one of the churches. It's this church that's right here. It's the building, it's the biggest building in the center to the right, with the two columns with the yellow as the outline. So that's a church that people still attend, and this picture is the inside of it. There's a lot of gold, which wasn't really typical at the time, because a lot of the gold that was mined out of these cities, that was mined out of this country, out of this whole continent, went back to their mother colonies. So all the gold went back to Portugal from Brazil. So not a lot stayed within Brazil to really paint these churches, but I think this church was more for, the rich people, the royals that might come into the city or the town, and to kind of show off everything that they do. It's pretty elaborate, which wasn't common at the time. So now we're going to a different city called Mariana. This also has a lot of mines, and still around, you can see different precious stone shops. A lot of people are still selling Brazilian diamonds and rubies and gold, kind of stuff that comes from the mines around Mariana. The city is high within the mountains. It's more excluded. It's not as big as Urupu or not nearly as big as Belo Horizonte. So these two pictures, this is the picture on the left, the man that's the first mayor of Mariana, and on the right, that is his wife. Within that town, they lived right across the street from the church and right across the street from the courthouse. And under their house, there was a jail. So after people, mostly enslaved people, got their sentencing, they would be tortured outside and then thrown under the mayor's house in the jail, which often stunk, I was told. So this is also within the mayor's house. They still use this as a city council room to this day, mostly to hold elections. You can tell by the microphones and by the flags of Brazil and of Mariana on the left, in the corner there. But they don't use it that often. You can tell right now it's pretty empty, but they still use it for special events and special occasions. So now we're headed out of Minas Gerais, and we're going to Sao Paulo, the state and the city of Sao Paulo. And I visited the Museu de Arte de Sao Paulo, or MASP for short, which is the Museum of Art of Sao Paulo. This is one of two museums within the Sao Paulo area, and it has a wide range of artists, from Van Gogh to Renoir to Ferrari. Like, they had a lot of different artists within this really big one, and that's why I chose to go, because I wanted to see more than just Brazilian artists. So these two pictures and portraits, they are on pamphlets that advertise the museum. I saw the picture of these two in gift shops. You can buy them on magnets. And when you first walk into the big gallery where most of the paintings are, these are the first faces you see. So on the left is Zephyrina. She is a very famous enslaved African woman who was brought to Brazil from Angola when she was just a child. She's known for rebelling against the slaveholding system and had a huge role in the 19th century founding of a Cimarron community, which is still alive and vibrant Afro-Latino community in Bahia, which is in the state of Salvador. She became a symbol of resistance when she helped escaped enslaved people plan an uprising that would attack Salvador and kill the white people to obtain freedom. However, the police found out about her plan and they sentenced her and the other leaders to death. The artist's name, their name is Dalton Paulo, and they wanted to focus mostly on the artists of both these pictures. They wanted to focus mainly on depicting African bodies and African religions because it's often erased throughout time, and a cause of that erasure was the silencing of these Black figures and traditional Brazilian history. And then on the right, we have João de Deus Nascimento. He was also a really important man who is native to Bahia, and he's the son of a freed Black woman, so he also gained freedom. He became a tailor and the martyr of what is called the Bahian conspiracy. It was an abolitionist and separationist movement with widespread support, led mainly by freed women and enslaved men. They sought to end the slaveholding system and wanted to install a republic within Bahia, but the plan was uncovered, like with Zephyrina, by the Portuguese crown. So it ended up with João's death, as well as the death of the other leaders. Both of these figures are extremely important in representing the long-fought battle with enslaved people and the Portuguese and Brazilian independence. And the names of these people, everybody within Brazil can recognize, but their pictures have been lost throughout time. So the artists did their best to try to depict what they thought they might look like, so their images wouldn't get erased. I didn't get a story on this one, but I thought this was also another really cool picture of what a man might have looked like during that time. There's just some more pictures of Afro-Brazilians. The one on the right, I think, shows a church service. You see the Star of David there, but you also see in the left-hand corner of that picture, you see someone who looks like Jesus getting nailed to a cross, and you see them drumming and all that kind of stuff. And these are some more pictures, and the one on the right, those are kind of caricature statues of important aspects of parts of African religion that came over with the African people in Brazil. So this next one, we're heading out of the museums. This is still in Sao Paulo. This is street art, and it's called Batman's Alley. It's a very young and up and coming scene. It has a lot of different pictures of not just Batman, but they have different murals of so many different socio-political, economic kind of things that are happening within Sao Paulo. And what's also really cool is that a lot of the times you can see artists working on their things, and it's a neighborhood. It's not just an alley. It's a whole neighborhood that's filled with these beautiful murals. This one is one of my favorite of the Batman series. It's of a Black Batgirl, and Batman is kind of depicted in many different ways within this alley. So these are two different murals. The one on the left shows, you know, Batman and what he's seen in the comics, and you can see like his his Lego enemies in the background. But on the right, you also see a not Batman themed piece of street art. On the left here, you do see Batman kissing Joker. I'm not sure if there's a story or something behind this, but I thought it was really cool. And then on the right, which is one of my favorites, you see this girl with an umbrella. I love her facial expression. I love how she's just looking right at you. This is definitely one of my favorite pieces. On the left, you see a peacock. Not a lot of the art kind of went on the sidewalk, so I thought this one was really cool and unique. And then on the right, you see a picture of Batman kind of giving a hug and a kiss to Pele, who was a really famous Brazilian soccer player. So now we're going to my host city of Florianopolis. On the left here, you can see the church from the front that I was talking about, with the white all around and the yellow trimmings, and the two boxes on the top. These Portuguese colonial style churches are all throughout the country of Brazil. So it's really cool to see. This Florianopolis, this neighborhood is Ribeirão da Ilha, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods that has many historical sites and many different museums, but what they're known for are their colorful buildings. So I'll take a look at that. Oh, but inside of the church, what I found really interesting, on the left, you can see, well, at least both of these, you can see saints, but on the left, the saint is a woman, and on the right, that's Jesus. But on the left, I didn't really see a lot of female saints. It was mostly male, so I thought that was really interesting, that in one of the oldest neighborhoods that they had a female saint. So like I said, they're known for their colorful buildings. I thought this was a really cool design that one of the restaurants had. It wasn't really like the others, as you'll see, but I thought this was really creative. These are the colorful buildings. On the left, you have, really big, really vibrant pastels. You have this beautiful purple and this deep red. And on the right, you have yellow. On the left, this doll, I saw these outside of a lot of different restaurants. I'm not sure what the story behind her is, but I saw it a lot and I thought I'd take a picture. They're usually not this decorative and they don't have on lipstick and hair and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't really get a story. And then on the right, you can see the different pink and pastel houses that these were colored in, and then more. And yeah, that is my presentation. If you have any comments or questions, my email is right here. I would love to talk more about Brazil. I would love to, if you have any comments, if you want to talk more about the art, please just let me know.